Hey, hi, hello, divas. So I'm gonna start out like it does feel a little weird going ahead and recording episode two when episode one isn't even out yet. But like I am prepping ahead of time because I'm still waiting for that 10K milestone to launch. Again, divas, I know I don't have to do that, but like I want to at this point. I've promised it for so long. Like I'm just gonna finish it out. But episode one is done at the time of recording this. Like it is ready to load up. And I've already recorded episode two's guest, which I mean, that's great. That's fabulous. You're gonna hear that guest segment here shortly, but like that was fun recording that yesterday, and now I'm getting this packaged up. But the goal is I want to have the first four episodes all put together before launch happens, so that then I can just kind of really be ahead of the game is my goal. I don't even know how much of this I talked about in the first episode, but I want to be ahead of the game. I want to be able to have the first four kind of auto queued to come out while I'm working on the next four. But that being said, I do actually have guests selected. Well, I have scheduled up to the first four already, which is exciting. So that's gonna be fun. But I have guests selected up through episode six, so that's exciting. Um, they haven't decided their topics yet, but it's been fun, and I'm excited for y'all to hear just all of it, and I hope that you like it. But I'm just gonna keep on keeping on, keep on chatting and make it this thing. It's because it's been fun. Um, but yeah, so I can't wait for y'all to hear it, but I am working hard on it. I wanna try to get, like, things really set up. And then I did also create a buy me a coffee page because I was thinking more about it. I was like, I wanna have something set up for y'all to support because I feel like some of y'all might want to. I definitely am not requesting it, and, like, no one feel obligated to, but I figured that there would be some people that would want to. So I decided to go ahead and set it up, and the only way that it's set up right now is that, uh, for the tipping portion of it, I know that you can do even on there, they have, like, the Patreon-esque tier setup things. I don't have time for all of that at the current moment. I still got my day job. I don't have time to be throwing out additional, like, supporter tier content or anything like that. Maybe one day, but definitely not right now. But I did still just want to have a way for y'all to tip if you wanted to. So that buy me a coffee page is set up, and I'll have all of that linked in the show notes. But if y'all want to do that, I appreciate you, and we'll see kind of where this evolves. But currently, where I'm like thinking in my head is that I want to have it maybe potentially like whoever is the first person to tip or buy me a coffee after each episode airs, whoever is the first one to do that, they get a shout out in the next time I record or something like that. I don't know. I'm playing with it, but I'm thinking about it. But we'll see. It's so weird because the fact that all of this that I'm recording, it's not even out yet. So we'll see how things change once I start getting feedback and incorporating some of that in. But for now, I'm kind of just blindly putting it all together, Diva? Okay, so let's talk real quick about the threads void. So I've noticed like not a whole lot is changed. I mean, it's still pretty samey, but I'm not going to get into any specifics. I'm not interested in any of that. I don't even know all the specifics, and I'm not interested in it. But there's a lot of drama popping up, and again, all of this will be so far gone by the time this comes out anyway. So even if I was in the business of getting into specifics, it would be outdated anyway. But I'm not. I don't even know them anyway. I mostly just see the periphery. I see people talking about drama for the most part. I think I mentioned this in the last episode too, that like I'll see people talking about it, but I rarely see it myself. But there a lot of drama happening even still from what I can tell. That's I from what I gather, there's some doxing happening in that situation, which is never okay. I don't want to lighten that or anything. I don't want to make that seem like it's not a big deal. Doxing is never okay. So if that really is happening, like that shit's not cool. That could actually affect people's lives. So like if you're doing that shit, stop it. Please and thank you. Uh, but That I again, I try to keep myself outside of that. I try to keep my Threads experience just positive and joyful. That's what I'm looking for out of social media in my life right now, so that's what I continuously try to do, but it is out there. And then aside from all of that, the I have been noticing, it's been an ongoing thing I've been noticing, is how fast the trend cycle on Threads is. And while I haven't been like a huge user of social media prior to this, like outside of just, using it to promote my drag stuff, and it had been a couple of years that I had been gone, besides just casually consuming things like TikToks that people would send me and stuff. And I knew that the TikTok trend cycle was fast, that I knew, but this is really fast, or it feels really fast on Threads, and it feels like it's repeating itself quickly. And like to clarify that, like I think I use the word trend cycle, I guess, like loosely, because cycle, I mean, of course, implies that things come back. But from what I've noticed, maybe again, I just haven't been on TikTok enough, but that like their trend cycle hasn't been all that cyclical yet to my knowledge. Then again, I also wasn't an OG, but I know that they're fast to move to the next thing, but what I've noticed on Threads, and maybe this is just because I am quote unquote an OG, like I was within the first 100 million. I was not on the first day. I was not in the first week. I think I was in week 2, but like I have like 88 that built something like the 88 million something. Like not I have a number and not just 100 million plus, but anyway, all that to say, I'm seeing the same trends that I saw in like July and August, and, like September. Those same ones are already back. Like they went away and they're already back. Now, that could be due to a couple of different things, I suppose, because I do, from what I gather, the way that kind of all of the Threads void is set up is it's kind of like a bunch of mini voids, like kind of like a galaxy type situation where it's like there's little groups of individuals that like see each other's content, if that makes sense. And so like I don't know if I'm just kind of floating in between voids, and like trend cycles are at different speeds depending on what little thread void you're in. I don't know, but that is interesting to note. And then when I talked to some of you about it on Threads a couple days ago, some of you were saying that like it just kind of is what happens with new social media as we kind of get new users coming in, which on Threads there's constantly these new users coming in, that they will see what the algorithm serves them. And if the algorithm is serving them content that we've all posted, the quote unquote OGs from then, and they're seeing it now, and they saw how much we were into it then, maybe it kind of like it's bringing it back. So that could be another like reason for it. But all that to say, something I noticed, I'm spending a whole lot of time on Threads, so it's something that I noticed. But interesting to note nevertheless. Besides that, though, I don't think with the algorithm, with the way that it is right now, something's wonky with it. I feel like uh, only like, I don't know, less than 10% of the people that follow me are actually seeing what I post, is what it feels like. Of course, I don't have any way to measure these metrics. I'm talking out of my ass. That's just what it feels like to me, because the engagement's lesser or all of that. It doesn't bother me too much. I've just been using the app the same way from the beginning anyway, which is kind of just throwing my thoughts into the void. But it's just, again, something I'm taking note of. But that's pretty much it for the Threads void, what's happening in my area of that. Besides that, I've joined, like, besides like the Threads side of things, like the main like little personal update before we get into things like what I'm reading, watching, listening to, all that. I've recently entered my crop top era. Isn't that fun and exciting? I feel like it's been a gay boy goal I've had for a while, and I mean, some of you know or have seen if you've been following me. I have always struggled with body weight issues and body image issues and that kind of thing. And I'm finally in a place where I've worked really hard on my body for my own mental and physical health. And like I'm in a good place where I'm feeling confident. I am ready to enter my crop top era. you know what? Like, I'm just gonna say it. That's my truth. I'm ready to enter my crop top era. As I sit here and record this, I'm wearing a cropped pink sweater. And so I'm loving it. I'm vibing with it. It's making me feel cute, making me feel sexy. That, and I've also entered my mullet era. So I'm rocking this fun mullet that my sister cut for me. So I'm enjoying it. I'm feeling hot. I'm feeling slay. It's fun. And with that, let's switch on over into the Diva Book Club section because oh my gosh, divas. I just finished this month's book club book. I finished it way early. Like it's only the 17th of March, but I finished this week's or this month's book club book. And what we read this month was The Inmate by Frida McFadden. It was definitely a page turner. Like I very much enjoyed it. It was predictable at times, but for the most part, I enjoyed it. So the summary is there are 3 rules Brooke Sullivan must follow as a new nurse practitioner at a men's maximum security prison. 1. Treat all the prisoners with respect. 2. Never reveal any personal information. 3. Never ever become too friendly with the inmates. But none of the staff in the prison knows Brooke has already broken the rules. That's all I'm going to read of the summary because it gets more into it. But the long and short of it is main character Brooke is a nurse practitioner at this men's security prison, and her ex boyfriend from 10 years ago is in prison for murdering a few of her friends and trying to murder her as well. Or so we think in the beginning, you know. And just another reminder, I'm not a book reviewer. This is all like spoiler warning or whatever, because I'm just going to talk about it as if I'm telling a friend what I read. Like it's not that serious. I thought that it was good and fast. Now it predictable in that like I it was very much like a whodunit. It was, you know, she's got a best friend and her ex-boyfriend Shane who's in prison for this murder. They were both there on the night of all the events happening and stuff. And so the way that the story is set up structurally is kind of, you know, every other chapter is present day versus 10 years ago. So it flashes back and forth between the original events that happened when Brooke was, you know, 16 or however old, and then back to present day, everything that's happening with the prison and all that. And like her son, she's got a son with Shane, who's the prisoner, the ex-boyfriend Shane. So she's got a son with him too. And so it's a lot of mess. It's a lot of mess. And she at one point she ends up thinking like she starts dating her best friend whose name is Tim. She starts dating him, but then she ends up thinking that he was the original killer. And then, you know, she flip-flops and thinks that it's the ex-boyfriend that's the actual killer, and then she flip-flops again and thinks that it's both of them that they are the actual killer, and then she flip-flops again and thinks that it's just Shane, and this is all after she's put her best friend Tim in prison and got her ex-boyfriend out of prison, and then like turns out at the end it's really his mom, and like it's really Shane's mom and him the whole time. In that how like it was one of those moments where at the end it was very much like explaining that like, oh, it was all set up from the beginning. Even like Brooke's parents dying in the beginning to get her back to her hometown. It like was all done by the mother. So it kind of like it was fun. I had fun reading or listening to it. Like the audiobook and the narrator was good and all that. It was narrated by Leslie Howard. Fun but predictable, and even the end wasn't all that satisfying. Like it ends even with like the ex-boyfriend like ends up dying, but he ends up dying at the hands of his 10-year-old son. And then like the epilogue of the book is you know, from the son's point of view when he's killing his dad to protect his mom. And so it make it you're left thinking that like, oh, the son is a monster just like his dad type of deal. So that eh, I would give it probably like, I don't know, 3.5, 4 stars, something like that, maybe 3.75. I didn't hate it, but I also didn't love it. But would I recommend it? I mean, yeah, especially if you like that kind of like whodunit mystery thriller type of thing. Like it was fun, but not my favorite. Pivoting into what I'm watching right now. So besides like the normal, I'm watching Drag Race, which I guess we'll go ahead and just start there. I just watched this latest episode of Drag Race, and at the time of recording this, it was the episode where they did the seminars, like the drag seminars, and it's the episode that Maya LePage went home. It was time for her to go home, but also, what even was that challenge? Like, it was it was a bizarre challenge. I was watching it with my boyfriend, and we were just sitting there just like, "What? What?" And then also I was confused when Michelle was telling them in the walkthroughs that she didn't want it to sound like a TED Talk, but then also I'm thinking like, "But is that not what this challenge is, like, modeled after?" No, maybe I misunderstood, but, like, I was like, "Maybe this not some is TED Talk not, like, what we're parodying here?" Uh, but, I mean, maybe she just meant make it more funny, but anyway, all that to say, I thought it was overall a lackluster challenge. I think that Plain Jane and Q did fine. Like the my favorite joke of the whole episode came from Q when she did the look at these. I need you to look at these slides, and it's the picture of the slides. And then, let me show you these historic clips. And it's fucking hair clips from over the years, and like those I like. That was my favorite joke. And but I do think that how it all turned out with, like, Saphira winning the challenge. I think all of that was right. I think that who went home was right, and who won was right. And also Maya throwing her skirt on top of Morphine during the lip sync, that gooped me. I was like, "That's foul play." And then later when Morphine threw her little chicken cutlet over at her, I'm like, "Oh my god, this was the best." But I really do think that, we could have had, you know, the lip sync assassin Maya sending Morphine home as well. I really do think that the skirt moment over the top of her head, I think that that was the moment that Maya lost the lip sync. I really do think that. And I think it's for the best. I mean, I wanna see more Morphine, and also, I mean, it was what, Maya's 4th time in the bottom? It was time. It was time. But that overall, it was a meh episode, I thought. I just thought the challenge was weird, but I did like the mini challenge with the, like, I guess, like, superlative type of deal, like, how well do you know each other most likely to? I thought that was cute, like, holding up the little paddles with their, faces on them, see how well they know each other and, like, shading each other a little bit. Any chance where they get to shade each other a little bit, I'm here for it. But besides Drag Race, Love is Blind. Y'all, the Love is Blind reunion just came out at the time of recording this, and I just watched that. Wild. Sarah Ann, it, it's just my favorite sound clip is of them yelling at each other. You're a pick me. No, you're a pick me. You're a pick me girl. No, cracked me up. That was my favorite part of the reunion. And then also seeing Trevor, seeing Trevor get grilled at the reunion. I just wild, and how he kept on asking to leave, and how they were finally like, "Okay, yeah, fine, like, get out of here, you can leave." It just like he looked like a wounded puppy the whole time, and then Sarah Ann being a barking dog the whole time. It it was a lot. It was a whole lot. They were just but it was fun. I mean, it was entertaining TV, but I'm interested to see the next season, but I mean, I don't have too much to say about Love is Blind. I watched it. I was gooped and gagged, but, like, it's not much to say besides that. Besides that, I did watch the new Bob's Burgers episode as well. I'm a huge Bob's Burgers fan, and what I really like about the latest episode that just came out was that they made pretty heavy reference to the film. Like, they revisited, like, Under the Wharf and, like, areas that they were at during the film, like the secret base of the fish odors and stuff. So I thought that was neat. Like that they are acknowledging that the events in the film took place, but still just moving on anyway. Thought that was great and fabulous. But that's really it besides what I'm watching. Then besides that, it's YouTube as normal, all the various video essays, all that good stuff. the biggest one that I was just listening to or watching was Billiam's video on Spike TV and how crazy and like hyper masculine that was, and just the rise and fall of Spike TV and things like Mansers and all the like how wild and crazy A Thousand Ways to Die, all the stuff that was on that. But that's a largely what I've been watching, and what I've been listening to has been pretty, like, I recently discovered, or being new for me, she's been around a minute, uh, a Canadian pop star named Rev, I believe that's how you pronounce it. It's a French her name is French, and it's, like, it's spelled R-E with the little, like, accent over the E, and then V-E, and it means dream in French, but she's, like, she does, like, Europop. It's, like, a very 90s R&B Europop feel, and it's fun. I very much enjoyed it. In fact, like, let me pull up the track list really fast because I have been vibing with it. Like, my favorites off of it are Breaking Up with Jesus, Contemporary Love, Control Alt Delete, XXX, like Tongue, really, they're all great. And then there's even on there a song called Whitney that like samples and interpolates like I'm Every Woman. So good, so good. The whole album concept, it seems like it's all based around Saturn returning, and like I just thought it was interesting that there was talk of Saturn return and like Ariana Grande's Eternal Sunshine that I talked about in the last episode. And so like it was just interesting to me to then just stumble into another album with that same concept. Also, as I get closer to my 29th birthday, which I know is kind of like when Saturn's supposed to finish, come back to wherever it was when you were born. And like I turned 29 in a couple of months. So like it's all interesting to me. But that album, highly recommend, was very fun. I think it's a no skip. And it's also a quick listen. Only 13 songs, 39 minutes and 54 seconds long. It's a fun, dancey album. There's a couple slow songs on there, but for the most part, fun, bouncy, dancey. Very much enjoyed it. Besides that, what I've been playing is, I mean, I was last time, I know it's so funny, in the first episode, I was talking about how I was getting into Final Fantasy and playing with the gays of Final Fantasy, but I fell out of that pretty quick. My brother convinced me to pre-order the World of Warcraft expansion. And so I looked into that and I did that. And so then I've been playing a little bit through that, and I used the, level 70 boost and did that. And then I also remade, which was fun. I remade my original character that I had when I played Burning Crusade back in like what, '07 when that came out. That was when I first started playing. I was like 12 years old, and I remade my character from then. So that's been fun to kind of play through. But that's kind of where I'm at with what I'm reading, playing, listening to, all of that. So yeah. With that, I am very, very excited to go ahead and pivot into our guest portion, the segment called I Want to Know Diva, where if you haven't heard already, it's where I just want to give my guests some space to just info dump on me about their passion, maybe teach me a little something, just tell me about what they love. And this week's guest, I'm very excited, is a friend of mine named Cody from Threads, and we're going to talk about agates, or we did talk about agates, but y'all are about to hear us talk about agates. Anyway, I'm excited. Let's go talk with Cody. Here, I'm gonna restart that because I fucked it up. Pretend you didn't hear that, Cody. Okay.
Nope, didn't hear anything.
All right. Hey, hi, hello, divas. Welcome to this week's segment of I Want to Know Diva, the segment of the podcast where I bring on a friend of mine to info dump to me all about their passion or interest or whatever it may be. And let's welcome this week's guest, one of my, I'm pretty sure, OG Threads followers, friends, mutuals, but please welcome my friend Cody at illest.cc at Threads. Did I get that right?
Yes, you did.
Okay. Fabulous. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Hi, how are you, Cody?
I'm good. It feels great. This is I like being able to talk about my passions. This is fun.
I'm so thrilled to have you here. And I mean, I asked you to be here because I have picked up on a passion of yours
Yeah.
through following you on Threads.
Yeah.
And every time I see you bringing up or posting pictures of these agates, or to me, right as of right now, to me, they're just really pretty rocks. But I'm hoping that at the end of our conversation, there'll be more to me than just little pretty rocks.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll try my
but
best.
but yeah, no, I'm excited to hear about it. But first, let me just start. Like, I want to give you a little bit of space to tell us like a little bit about yourself, like who you are, a little bit about yourself, and like why agates. Why are we talking about agates today? Like, tell me why,
Why
what brought you into
agates?
them?
Oh
Yeah.
man. Well, it started 2 years ago when I started working at my current job, climbing cell phone towers. And one of my first leads, guy who was telling me directions and whatnot,
Hmm.
he would always be looking for him, and I didn't really care all that much. I kind of thought he was dumb for it, because I had never seen one ever, and um, yeah, and then he just kept looking for him more and more, and then one day we had a lot of free time on a rooftop of a building, and it was just covered in river rock, and
Casual
him,
free time on the roof of a
yeah,
building.
exactly, yeah, they were just troubleshooting some fibers, and we were just walking around looking at the ground, and I didn't find anything all day. And he was just picking them all. He was picking them up with another coworker of mine, and finally, towards the end of the day, I found my first agate. It was like the coolest thing I had ever seen. And then ever since, I've just always looked everywhere I go.
Do you, do you remember what was so like what was special about like the first one, or do you still have that first
Yeah,
one?
I do. I can go grab it too.
I mean, they're not going to see it, but I would love to. Before
Oh,
we're done, I want you to. I want you to. I want to see it for sure,
perfect.
but they won't see it. But this will just be for us.
Okay, perfect. And something special about it. It was just all the different colors and all of the different lines on it. It's got like a crap ton of them, and I'd never seen one this banded
Ooh,
before. Um,
wow! That kind of looks like a shell almost,
yeah,
kind of.
yeah. Um, and then ever since, I've just kept my head down, close to the ground, and just snooping for them.
I love that. Well, now tell me, what's the difference then? Like, what makes an agate and not just like a rock
Okay, yeah,
or a really pretty rock?
yeah, yeah.
Like, and like,
So
how do you know with that? Like, when you're looking for them, like, how do you spot them? Because I wouldn't be able to pick one up. I don't think like spot one and pick it out.
they're really hard to pick out. And um, with me, it took a while. I had to find a bunch of them because they come in all different shapes, sizes, colors, and all that. But what makes an agate, um, and how to find them is usually anywhere where there was a riff. It was like where volcanic activity happened thousands and
Okay.
thousands of years ago. And they were like bubbles almost in the uh,
Like magma or lava,
yeah,
or
in the
just
magma.
the
Yeah,
okay.
sorry, I was blanking.
Oh no, you're fine.
And so that magma is hollow, and it's called a vesicle. And silica
Okay.
would seep into it, which gives it that banding at different times, and slowly over time, it would just keep building up on top of it, like kind of like a Lego or wax.
Okay.
And
Layer
um,
by layer.
yeah, and then they're just found everywhere. I get mine mainly from like Lake Superior. Um,
Oh, okay.
yep, yep,
That's
and
fun.
yeah, um, and then a
So
lot of
like,
agates. Sorry, go ahead.
oh no, finish your thought.
Oh, and a lot of agates have quartz, because silica's like um, pretty much just quartz.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned like that banding. So are you looking for banding then? Like is that like what? So I guess when you're looking for them, when you're like you've got your eyes down, what are you looking for to
Yeah.
spot them?
Yeah. So I usually face the sun because they kind of have like a waxy glow. Um, and
Ooh.
they're super easy to spot if the sun is in front of you and you're looking down. So there's no shadows or anything. And they just they shine differently than any other rock. And they're usually like a brownish or a red on the outside.
Okay.
Sometimes though you can find like you can pick out the banding. Um, but that's how I find them, and they just shine so bright.
Wow. And
Yeah,
like even when they're dirty and stuff, like it's
yeah,
still bright enough to shine through all of that.
yeah. It's actually kind of crazy because agates, if they're like cracked open and have the exposed inside, they really don't get that dirty. Um, and it's
Oh.
weird. Yeah,
I wonder if it's like a coating that's on them or something, or just
yeah.
that keeps it. I don't know.
I'm not
I
sure.
wouldn't
Yeah,
know. Well, fun. And so
yeah.
you said you find them mostly at Lake Superior. Where else do you go to find them at? Like,
Well,
or are you just always looking for them?
I'm just always looking. But in Minnesota, a lot of the rocks around this state come from Lake Superior, especially if like in parking lots, on those curb things, and on the job sites that I work at. So I just look and hopefully I'll find one or a bunch.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some of your hauls are huge.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
so like when you find them, like how long does it take you to find? Because I'm thinking of a particular picture where
Hmm.
I remember when I can't remember when you posted it exactly, but I remember I like screenshotted it and like I looked at it for like 30 minutes, like looking through all. It was like a big haul. I remember I circled the one that was my favorite and like
Yep, the
sent it
crazy
back to you. I was
lace
like,
agate. I remember
I was
that.
like, yeah, I was like, I like this one. But like, so that particular haul or a haul that size, like. Was that like bolt like over time, or did you just like score and you just found a spot that had a bunch of them?
That I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, that was like 2 days of just looking while I was at work.
Okay.
Um, but more recently, I've been finding more and more since the snow has been melting. Um, and you can find a lot in one sitting if you're in the right spot, but it's kind of random.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is it say with like because I know you said that they can look different with banding and stuff, but like
Mhm.
at least from what I've seen of yours, they all seem similar in size. Is that kind of like are they generally like pebbly size like that, or can they get bigger or smaller?
Oh yeah, they can be huge. They can be like this big. They can get massive.
Have you ever found one that big?
Unfortunately not. I think the biggest one I ever found was just a little bit bigger than a golf ball. Because
But still, that's huge.
oh yeah. Especially bigger than like the pebble ones I used to find. I don't know if I've just gotten better or gotten luckier with uh the sizes that I've been finding, but hopefully one day I'll find one that big.
That'd be really cool. And
Oh
that
yeah.
kind of leads me into my next question about it. Like, what do you do with them?
See,
Once you get them, like, do you have a collection? Do you like what is what's the deal? What are you doing with all these agates that you've been finding?
I've been asked this so many times, and honestly, I just have a collection. I don't really know what I want to do with them yet. Other than I want to smooth out, polish the sides that have the visible banding, and then leave the rest kind of raw and untouched. But
Okay.
then it'd also be cool to like turn it into a project. Like I could make so many different things with it, like tabletops, coasters,
Oh, cool. I mean,
yeah,
my
different little
mind went to
knickknacks.
jewelry with that
Yeah,
stuff, but like,
yep,
but when you have so many of them, yeah, like putting them into a tabletop or like a coaster set of those,
yeah,
that would be pretty.
that would be super pretty.
Okay.
And
Well, if you
actually,
start doing that, I want to you let me know. I don't know if you're planning on selling them, but like I want one.
I
Or
will.
like
I'll let you know.
yeah.
I'll let you know. I've actually been looking at like a little bench buffer too, but
A
We'll see.
a bench buffer. What is a bench buffer? You're gonna have to
It's
help
a buffer. It
help
just
me here.
no, yeah. You pretty much just put it. You like screw it into a like a benchtop, tabletop, and they have like two wheels on them that spin super fast. And you could put like polishing discs, cutting discs, sanding discs,
Ah,
all that. Yeah. So it's kind of like
power tools.
yeah, power tool. It is a power tool. Yeah.
See, that's outside of my realm, but I could. I'll leave the power tools to you. I can't be doing all of
I'm
that.
okay with that.
But hey, if you end up making something cool with it, would you thinking? Well, are you thinking of selling perhaps, or like doing some sort of shop, or would it mostly just kind of be a hobby, passion thing?
I think I would like to turn it into like a um little hobby to actually make things and sell them. An idea somebody gave me, I think it was yesterday. Yeah, my tattoo artist, he's super into agates, and he was like, "Yeah, man, you could make like beads and stuff, and earrings and necklaces and whatnot." And I was like,
Ooh,
"That's a really good. I didn't even think of
beads.
that."
So I guess like you what just like drill holes through a
Yeah,
bunch of the smaller
yeah,
ones and make little beads out of them.
yeah.
Love that. Wow. Okay. Well, I'll be looking forward to that because yeah, there are so many different things you could do with that,
Oh
especially with
yeah.
however many you've got, and especially if you've been saving them all.
Mhm. Mhm.
How many do you think that you have if you were to
Oh
wager
man.
a guess?
Probably close to 200.
200. And how
Yeah,
long did it take you to amass all 200 of those?
about a year and a half. Yeah, because
Okay.
I wasn't super serious about it at first, and then I got super serious about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
yeah. I never thought
And
I'd ever find that many.
now, is it just you're just looking when you're working, or are you going out on like are there events where you're going out for yourself just to look, or is it just
Um,
when you're out and about anyway?
Typically, so far it's been only at work. But if I see some river rock or at drill, um, I'll uh, I'll be looking. But typically I find them at work for the most part. But I do want to go up to this city called Duluth. It's right on Lake Superior, and I'd love to go up there and look for them.
Is
And
it just like a hot spot for them?
yeah, yep. It's a super hot spot. Like the northeastern Minnesota and then northwestern Wisconsin. They've got a lot.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, very cool.
yeah.
Well, I mean, that's pretty much like I'm going through like that's the largely my questions, but like I am like I want to give you a little bit of a section of time, I guess. Like if there's anything that you want to like if you could tell anyone anything about it, like what would you say? Like if I just said, "Hey, go, just talk, just what info dump on me,"
Okay.
without me driving questions, like what do you got?
Well, for all the crystal girlies, these do have metaphysical properties. Um,
Okay, what
yeah.
kinds? All kinds?
So, oh yeah, a lot. I wrote them down here. It promotes pleasant dreams, prevents insomnia, encourages a broader perspective, promotes goodwill, and I
Okay.
think the last one that I'm gonna say helps eliminate bad luck because the list goes on.
Oh, I'm sure, and I would imagine that it's depending on like what kind it is, because I mean,
Maybe,
right?
yeah,
Perhaps kind, size, I don't know, but that.
yeah,
So if you hear that, divas, there's some benefits potentially. Now I wonder, like, is it just like a proximity thing? Like you have to hold it near you, or are you just supposed to do you have to do something with them?
yeah. I would assume so, because these are really rich in quartz as well. That's a big part of what the bands are made of, and quartz is a very metaphysical kind of rock crystalline structure.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll love that. What else you got? What
Um.
other little fun facts we got about agates? Because
Oh,
I know nothing.
that's okay. That's okay, and that's why I'm here. I'm here to teach you.
Yes, yes.
Um. So, oh man, it just. Oh, a fun fact I actually learned last night is that a lot of the more like super serious people who go like agate hunting all the time and make it a really big priority, they will go at night and they'll use a UV light because they glow. Yeah, I
Now
don't have a
that
UV
sounds like the
light.
move.
Yeah, and it was described to me as have you ever seen the movie Avatar with the blue
Yeah.
people? Yeah, it's like
Yes.
all that glowy stuff is like agates. Like that's how they glow.
Oh.
Yeah,
So okay, well that see now that to me seems like it'd be the easier way to hunt them down,
for sure.
but also I mean I guess if to the trained eye walking through the sunlight, like you were saying earlier, with how they sparkle and shine differently, I guess once you understand, maybe it's easier. But
Yeah.
the glow in the dark agates in the night sounds more my speed.
It's definitely something I would like to try. With my because me and my coworker have been trying to plan like because we'll go like disc golfing in the summertime and maybe instead of disc golfing we go look for agates and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean I'm just thinking of like, the fact that you found over 200 just on your date, like just going about your business. Like, what I'm sure you could find so much. It's
Oh,
some cool, like if you were to like dedicate like an outing
yep.
to it,
Yeah, I
it'd be
mean,
cool, dude.
it would. I just whenever I think there might be agates, like with the type of rock that's around, it's just like a flip switches and I'm already looking. It's like an addiction. It's
I
weird.
love that. Is there like, do you have a like, is there community around this? Like, are you in Facebook groups? Are you in group chats? Like, are you
Um,
making friends through this, or is this kind of more like a solo thing for you?
so far, it's just been me posting all of these on like Reddit, like on the different mineral
Okay.
pages, agates pages, rockhounds pages, all that kind of stuff. But there are like big agate communities, especially around Duluth, like Spear, because a lot of people spend like weeks just looking for agates. It's crazy.
Wow. I
Yeah.
mean, that it seems to be making a lot of people happy. It seems to
Oh
make you
yeah.
happy.
Oh yeah. Makes me
Uh,
super happy.
and that I mean, I like that. Yeah, I see your smile. I love that. And I mean, I like it when you share them, and a lot of people do. I'm sure too. I mean, I can see that a lot of people
Oh
do.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
always like seeing them. And I will be buying one when of however form as soon as that is happening for you.
Threads will be the first to know. So listeners, alist.cc.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. Yeah, and I mean, like that kind of is a nice segue. And if there's anything else, like speak now, forever hold your peace. But like I'm feeling like we're kind of getting to the natural close of things where
Oh
we can
yeah.
start
Yeah.
plugging anything you want. But like, unless there's something else you wanna, it's just gonna is burden. You
Hmm.
want to get it off your chest about agates, like, or
I don't.
maybe let me leave this last question then.
Hmm.
Then we'll wrap it up. But the so is there what kind of what misconception about them would you do a lot of people have, and like, or that you would want to correct or set the record straight on, if there
That
is one?
that is an amazing question, and hmm, a lot of people don't think they actually like don't think they exist, but they just don't live in the right spot. They're
What do you mean
mainly in the
what do
Midwest.
they just think that they're just made up, like they're
They don't
man-made or
think they
something?
don't think that they're made up, but they don't understand that they could only be formed in certain areas, and they I don't they just get super like um frustrated that they can't find them, but they don't go to the right places, or there's people that also will find different rocks that might be similar to agates and say it's an agate. And a lot of people get very defensive about that.
So it seems like so not there's potentially some lack of clarity in what they actually
Yeah.
are,
Yeah.
which I mean, I thought that they were, I mean, wrong. But then I would imagine too, like, that when a lot of people may be quick to dismiss
Hmm.
something like these, especially if there's any sort of metaphysical properties tied to them. I know that alone would cause a lot of people to just write them off as like make believe, I'm
I
sure.
agree. I agree.
But I mean, they're beautiful, and it I think that there's some skill involved with picking them out because I know I couldn't pick them out. So I think that's
Perhaps.
pretty cool.
Perhaps.
Well, all right. I mean, thank you so much, Cody, for hanging out with me and talking to me about agates.
Yeah.
Plug yourself for the people, for
Oh
the
man.
divas. I can't even tell you when this is going to come out
Hmm.
because I mean, we're still waiting at the time of this recording this, y'all. I'm still
Yep.
not at 10K, but that's all right. We're getting there. But so whatever it ends up coming,
Slowly
and you'll
chugging.
be this will be episode 2, so you're my second guest. So we are going in order. So you're
Sweet.
gonna be on week 2.
I can't wait.
Um, but anyhow, plug yourself. Where can the divas find you?
Oh man, I'm only on Instagram and Threads. Those are like the two platforms I really use. Sometimes Reddit, but not enough to plug myself. And it's just illist.cc. It's where you can find me anywhere and everywhere.
Wonderful. Yeah, and of course I'll have you all linked in the show notes too for anyone to go find. But I think
Sweet.
that the majority of the listeners, I would imagine, is gonna be Threads people. So y'all
I'm hoping
hop to
so.
it.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to I'm trying to educate the moots a little bit.
I love that. I love that. Well, thank you again, Cody. I'm
Yeah,
so
thank
grateful
you.
that you were wanting to spend some time with me.
Yeah.
And until next time, bye, y'all.
Bye.
That was so fun. Wasn't that fun learning about agates? I didn't realize that they were more than just really pretty rocks, you know? Well, I'm so grateful to Cody for joining and that being my very second guest here. I can't wait for you all to hear. And again, I'll just take this time now to apologize to, if you've made it this far and I'm remembering it, apologize for my audio quality on the first episode, for my audio quality during the I Want to Know Diva segment. I got really excited and the gain was set up too high and I was excited about my first guest and I was just talking far too loud. And so that's why my audio is like peaking a lot and just sounds overall like shit. Sorry for that, but it is what it is. I'm hoping that this one is better. Things seem to have gone better this go round. I'm going to really try to be active on making sure everything stays sounding really good. But all of that to say, I hope you enjoyed time with Cody. I sure did. And thank you again, Cody, for being on with me. And with that, thank you all for listening to this very second episode of You Know Diva. I'm excited to continue recording these and putting these out. And I can't wait to actually have these coming out so that I can start hearing your feedback and involving y'all a little bit more. But until next time, bye, divas.